Hello, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Sunrise Daily today. I'm Chamberlain Uso.
Well, the temperature hovering around 26 degrees Celsius here in Abuja. Good morning and welcome. I'm Maufe Ogun Yusuf.
Well, it's a bit tempestuous in terms of the information coming through from first Kaduna State. Then you also have that of Katsina has been lingering for a while, where this plan by the state government to release, they say, about 70 banned terrorists, let's call it what it is, in exchange for some of their captives who, of course, are in captivity. So different groups have been speaking up about how they do not think that should even happen, even though the state government is saying, look, this is part of the best approaches to all of these things. But I imagine that matter will be on for a while, because many will tell you they've seen time and again how whatever deal you think you have with this lot never holds. And at the end of the day, the leopard cannot shed its spots. But, well, that's on the one hand. And in addition to that, Kaduna, well, first, the information filtered through that about 163 worshippers, I think they were Cherubim and Seraphim Church, were kidnapped in the local government in Kajuru area. And then, not long after that, you had several persons in the state. I think the commissioner for, I think they call him Internal Security and Home, that's Mr. Sule Shoaibu, did then subsequently say no such thing happened, that they've gone to check. The police told the same narrative, no such thing happened, that if anybody has any information, come forward, show us proof. Okay, so, but I've been reading through and, you know, some of the calls made. I'm not sure if this Commissioner for Internal Security or the police themselves have spoken to the CAN chairman in the local government area who raised the alarm as to what exactly happened, because the CAN Northern chairman did say this is the info that he's got from, you know, they have that chain of command. So if anything happens, they just pass the information through that this is the information. So first, can they deliberately pass an inaccurate or wrong information? So that's a challenge now. So they're going back and forth saying, yes, they were kidnapped, but security agencies said, we didn't see any such proof, no such thing happened. So juries are there on this kind of sensitive matter, I dare say.
And you know, when lives are involved, we cannot be ambivalent. Yep. It is either people were kidnapped or they weren't. I mean, there's no in between. There's no maybe. There is nothing like that. So it's a bit confusing as to why such an information will go out. I mean, from what we understand, you said 160. Now, we spoke with the CAN chairman in Kaduna State, who, by the way, says he's not in town at the moment, and that what the information he has been given is that 178 worshippers were kidnapped during worship, and then 6 of them escaped. And that is the information the CAN local government chairman in Kajuru has given him. Now, we also now hear that this is the handiwork of conflict merchants. This is according to the Commissioner for Internal Security and Home. They say that such a claim is totally false. So the question is, what is the incentive to lie about such an incident? We know that, yes, Kajuru has been pretty notorious for, you know, this sort of issues, banditry, kidnapping, terrorism. Usually if you're in the Kaduna area, and there are certain areas that they'll tell you, look, these are hot spots when you're traveling through Kaduna, and Kajuru happens to be one of them. So it is easy for one to easily, you know, to take in this sort of information. The question then will be, why would anyone want to tell such a lie? Is it that, you know, such a thing occurred, but somehow the people who kidnapped them released them, or it was the attempt, because an attempt can happen, and then it could be foiled? Was that what transpired? Or did the people overpower the kidnappers and came home? Or there was no such thing at all, but no such attack took place? The situation is truly befuddling, and I think a lot of people are still curious as to whose report do we believe? That is the question you know, on the lips of many, because the Kaduna state government, from the local government chairman to, you know, everyone involved, say no such incident took place. And then you also have Kano on the other hand. You know, and Chimele, let me tell you why this is significant. In recent times, this incidents of Christian genocide or no Christian genocide, there had been those who had been claiming before now that these are the sort of reports that fuel it, and that there are some people who intentionally cook up stories, exaggerate stories, because they seek to get funding, you know, international funding for those kinds of situations. So I believe that Khan really has a job of work to prove that such a thing occurred if it did occur. If it didn't occur and there has been some, you know, maybe mismanagement of information or something wrong has gone somewhere, Khan also has a duty to say, either to show that it happened or it didn't happen. Because there can be no mix-up in this kind of instance. At the end of the day, somebody's reputation is going to be dented. Either that of the state government, who could be telling lies, or the Khan, who could, somebody, as far as I know, is telling lies. Because such an information shouldn't filter out, and then, you know, we're still left before the doubt as to what exactly is the situation here.
Well, so the thing is this. In all of these narratives, I think it's the framing of all of those that, you know, really sticks out like a sore thumb. For those who say, oh yeah, people are coming up with this kind of narratives to get money, it doesn't invalidate the fact that killings do happen.
Indeed.
Which we have seen several times. Killings happen, whether it's on the right or on the left, killings occur, they happen. So that's a given. But on this particular matter, you know, it's a bit concerning. If the authorities, security agencies, all the commissioners will come forward almost immediately and say no such thing happened, it raises a lot of concern, because we know that their capacity to respond to some of these kidnap cases is not the best. We know it takes them almost like, for want of words, forever to get to these kind of locations. It's not the first time. Over time, that is what always happens, because they tell you we're not properly equipped or we don't have the manpower to get to that location in good time. That is a given. So how they came up with this conclusion, it's a little concerning. Perhaps they might have said, look, at the moment, we have checked with this, this, and that, and it doesn't give us any indication of any such kidnaps. However, we are going to check for this, this, and this in order to actually verify that no such thing happened. Because if they say some people escaped, who are those people? Are they not reachable? If Khan at the local government level is saying these persons were kidnapped, did they get across to them and find out, if you say this happened, who are the people? What are the details? We know we're not very good at keeping record and data. So it might take a little while to confirm or debunk this. But if you're coming up, we know they always want to look good. You know, nobody wants any bad situation on their hands, but we do have a challenge. So this kind of narrative is something that we're definitely going to keep tabs on and see, find out what are the actual details of this matter.
I think it will also be helpful, you know, if, you know, it will be helpful to be able to go to the local government. The local government chairman says he went there himself. It would have been very helpful if he went with the media to the churches where this thing was said
is their word
occurred
against other people.
Exactly.
Who can't verify what they say is done.
Just to verify that such a thing occurred, because some of these areas, as I did say, they are notorious and they are very rural. So sometimes getting there
you can't just get there
like that. So imagine what happened also in Kwara. I keep saying that if when the people were kidnapped in a church, it was a pretty rural church as well, but they were streaming their service, and so that was how people saw that such an incident occurred. Now in this instance, it's unclear, you know, I don't think that they had any such facility like that, but because of the controversy, it would have been very helpful for the local government chairman to have gone to that community with some members of the media to be able to say, these are the churches, this is the leader of the church. Did such a thing occur in your church? You know, so right now, so that we can avoid this controversy, and then ask the Khan local government, the Khan chairman at the local government level, which church did you particularly here that this happened. And if somebody is telling lies, I do think that people need to be prosecuted. Generally.
All right, so it's going to be very interesting, but we do put up, we put up this preliminary report about what was said by who and when concerning this particular matter, which we suspect that, of course, this cannot be the end of the entire scenario. Have a look.
Members of the Kaduna State Security arrive at the Sir Kashim Ibrahim House for a crucial meeting chaired by Governor Uba Sani. During the meeting, security agencies, traditional rulers and top government officials review the security situation across the state, focusing on reports of an alleged mass abduction of Christian worshippers in Kajuru local government area of the state. Addressing reporters, the Kaduna State Commissioner for Police and the Commissioner for Internal Security debunked the report, which they describe as misleading and false, including an ongoing military operation in the area to clear the area of bandits and other criminal elements.
I want to warn some of these troubleshooters. Please stop giving out false information to those discredit the state and the security agencies.
We are here to make it abundantly clear to members of the public that the narrative from the Kajuru area that people have been kidnapped or whatever in the like of that is totally false, is not tenable, and we do not have any evidence of such.
The chairman of Kajuru local government said he visited the community to find out the situation of things by himself and confirmed that the community is calm.
So to the best of our knowledge, nobody in Kajuru local government from that village is in the hospital as a result of this attack. So I believe it's the rumor peddled by merchants who want to have, the peace that Kajuru is enjoying. It's not yet 100%, but at least compared to the past, we are doing well. So I'm challenging everybody to bring the name of anybody from that community.
Amidst ongoing operations to track and neutralize criminal elements, security agencies are cautioning against politicizing security matters for personal interest.
So we'll turn our attention to Nigeria's political landscape, which appears to be shifting. We do know several governors have joined the APC, while parties like the ADC and other opposition groups are preparing their challenge. Now, of course, the recent visit of the governor of Kano State fueled speculation about a possible move to the ruling party as well, and that's ahead of the 2027 general elections, even though some think that's a foregone conclusion. So this morning, we're joined by Dr. Umar Ado, convener, League of Democrats, Northern Democrats, and he's also the promoter of the registration of the All Democratic Alliance. Good morning, and thank you for coming on today.
Good morning, Chamberlain.
Well, it's we know we do see different signs and different things going on, but let's start with your impression. At the moment, we see a lot of those movements going on from some political parties to the APC, while the ADC themselves are also saying, look, those movements notwithstanding, they are still going to put up a very stiff challenge. I assume that you maintain that same belief, don't you?
Yeah, I do to some extent.
Oh.
I've been part of the coalition, the National Opposition Coalition. I've been part of it, but we differed on approach. I insisted that the best way to confront the regime and work towards the 2027 election was to register a brand new political party that was without any blemish, ideologically motivated. Other group, maintains that they needed to just pick an existing political party and fuse into it, because they are convinced that the National Electoral Commission, AMAC, would not be allowed to register new political parties. Apparently, they seem to be right, because we champion for the registration of political parties. I'm sure you know, since the Yakubu days, about 172 political parties applied, then they were sieved, 14 were called upon, then 8 made it to the final stage where INEC went and inspected our offices, inspected our documentation, saw physical presence of executives across the country, and which completed, the requirements of the law. Then we were also recommended by the committees established by INEC, but when the commission sat, surprisingly, INEC refused to register any political association as a political party. So some of these political parties, including the ADA, All Democratic Alliance, which we are promoting, have gone to court to see that, to get the court, compel INEC to do so.
What were your concerns? Why you thought you should pick a new political party?
Because going to join an existing political party is fraught with a lot of problems. You can see what is going on in the ADC as it is now. There are about 27 court cases at the various states and then at the national, at the center. And then there is a faction, there is the, Nasuru Balas faction, here in Guzape, and there is the David Marks faction here, though recognized, by INEC. But litigations are going on, and we don't know how these litigations will end up. So this became the major concern that I had, that I said, look, we better register a new political party. So now, but with regards to your question as to the movement, from other political parties to the APC, yes, we have so many governors, so many legislators, and so many critical stakeholders in the polity move, from other opposition political parties, mainly into the APC. That does not in any way indicate that there is a national consensus as to the preference on APC. Rather, it is a reflection of democratic decay. We are operating in a system that is lawless, absolutely lawless.
What do you mean lawless? Because it moved from one party to the other?
Yes, the law
Isn't what ADC members do?
The law has, the Constitution has stipulated clearly to the movement from one political party to the other, especially among the legislators. Section 101, subsection 1G, and for the state assemblies, and section 68, subsection 1G of the National Assembly stipulated clearly that if a legislator moves from one political party to another, a political party that filled him into the National Assembly or State Assembly, as the case may be, move to another political party, he should put down his seat. That the Senate President or the Speaker of the House of Assembly or House of Representatives shall declare that seat vacant. But because...
Yeah, but you didn't put the proviso.
The proviso was that if there is no a faction within the political party, and the Supreme Court in Justice, led by Justice Muhammad Dottijo, interpreted that. He said that this faction must take through the entire gamut of the political party. It will not just be a faction at the world or at the local government or at the state or at the zone. It has to be up to the national. At the time a lot of these people moved out, there was no faction. When you remember the legislators moved out from Kebbi, legislators moved out from Delta, legislators moved out from Zamfara and other states, which the president accepted them, and the president said that more will be coming. There was no faction in the PDP. There was no faction in the Labour or any other political party.
But can you say the same now?
No,
for those who have moved.
Now there are factions. Yes, but what about those that happened before? So we are operating in a lawless society. And if you are operating in a lawless society, then under what parameters are you going for election? I just now, while I was sitting outside, I saw you people brought out the news of the award of national GCON, to Mr. Gilbert Changori. Now, the Constitution is very clear. The National Council of State must sit and advise the President on this. Did the National Council of State sit and advise the President? I can't remember. Maybe you know. But if the National Council of State has not sat and advised the President of it, then this action of the President, like that one of President Buhari on Babagana Kingibe, on Abiola, and all these things, they are illegal. Absolutely illegal. So we cannot pick and choose which law, which provision of the Constitution we should obey and which one not to obey. This is our problem.
But there are two things. First, they tell you some of these issues you raised, it only suits the parties when persons move from one party to another party. The party receiving them will always be happy, of course.
Certainly.
If they had come to the ADC, ADC will embrace them with open arms. In fact, there's this impression that in the months ahead, you will find even some legislators move to ADC.
Yeah, but that does not make it constitutional. That does not make it lawful. That is a problem.
So if ADC is supposed to be seen to be forthright, should they say, no, we will not accept you coming?
No, it is not for the ADC. It is for the Speaker. It is for the Senate President. But you see, this is not even the issue. Why this thing happened and the supervene is because the opposition is weak and timid and docile. If the opposition were to be strong, the opposition would have been in front of the National Assembly with placards, mobilizing Nigerians, and saying that we are not moving away from this gate of the National Assembly until we get the Senate President and the Speaker declare those seats vacant.
Which groups do you consider to be opposition now?
All groups that are out of government and are political.
Which parties do you recognize that can be considerably called, these are opposition in the real sense of the word?
Well, ADC is an opposition, Labour is an opposition, all other political parties, PDP is an opposition, is part of its issues. All of them are opposition. Even people like us who have gone to for the registration of new political parties and have not been registered and are pursuing it in the court of law, we are opposition.
And they're all weak.
They're all weak. All weak,
What has weakened them?
What has weakened them is the docility, of not acting when they ought to act. And they have not been acting, on critical occasions. Now, the difference between the current opposition and then the APC opposition during the PDP days was that the APC opposition was active and strong. So they now said that President Goodluck Jonathan was a weak president. Jonathan was never a weak president. It was the opposition that was a strong opposition. Now they ascribe to President Tinubu that he is a strong president. He is a master strategist. Tinubu is not a strong president. Tinubu is nowhere near master strategy. It is the opposition that is weak.
Do you think that there has been a deliberate plot of some sort to weaken the opposition?
No, you see, over time, those that have been leading the opposition themselves seem to lose the momentum, in their fight for the opposition, because most of them are in the opposition not necessarily to bring fundamental ideological change, but mainly to grab power. And people across the country are getting tired of people who only go into opposition to grasp power. That is their weakness.
Well, this is where we are now. We are seeing, I'm a little befuddled though, because as you rightly said, you have admitted that there's division in many of the political parties, and that's one of the reasons why you frowned against joining wholesale any political party that is already in existence, because you do fear that this litigations could hamper, its ability to be able to do what it ought to do. However, there are those who now look at what is currently on the ground and say, okay, so maybe we can make that argument for those who are, seeking office, because you could lose your seat. You can win, and then at the end of the day, you lose your seat because your party is not recognized. But what do we have to say for those who are perhaps in their second term, those who are, especially those who are in their second term, those who aspire to no office? Why do you think that they're finding the APC all of a sudden attractive?
Well, it really is not getting APC, finding APC really attractive. I don't know what has gone or what is going on behind the curtains. But if you look at it, it will seem that those who are tilting towards the APC are either casual, either bludgeoned, either blackmailed, or intimidated, or being being attracted by law of getting back to office, or if they are doing their second term, at least protecting their backyard after they leave office. You will have to agree with me that in many circumstances, getting your successor is more important to you than even you are coming for second term. Why? Because you have taken 8 years and created all the havocs and committed all the atrocities, and that you don't want to be a Malami. You don't want to be, after office, you get into prison, you've been taken by the SSS, and so on and so forth. So you would want to protect that. And people see the establishment, the regime in power that has the authority to touch the button to say, go pick this one, do this one, don't do this one, become their protector.
I was going to say something, that perhaps the only way not to be a Malami is not to do the things that he has been alleged to have done.
Yes.
Yes, but clearly.
So many been doing so. When you work in a system that is lawless, what do you expect? So many atrocities go on.
Wait.
The major problem of our country...
Does that mean that the ADC themselves, because they have this crop of politicians too, who have been in government in that kind of position, as governors, who are also in the party in different positions. So does that mean that they cannot claim to be righteous as well?
Well, we are not talking about being righteous here.
That's the impression that parties want to give us.
Is very far off.
Political righteousness is very far off from them.
Very, very far off from most politicians, especially those who held public office, either at the executive level or at the legislative level, or even, as advisors who have a lot of influence, on the administration.
I'm just a little curious because you've talked about all manner of, offers being made or blackmail or, it could be a mix of things. Have those offers not been made to you? Have they been made to you?
Myself?
Yes.
Why should anybody talk to me?
Why shouldn't they talk to you?
No. I'm not in the category for you to be talked to. You see, you have to understand the psychology of the person. Are you saying you have nothing to have? You have nothing to offer? No, not about having nothing to offer. Because I have made my position in this opposition very clear from day one. I don't compromise on certain things. Never. If I wanted to get compromise, I was in government before. I was in the office of the vice president. I worked as a special assistant to the president. I was in the villa. I saw it all for 8 years. But when I came out of office, I only had 38,000 in my account, while my colleagues or those that below me had a whole lot.
Why did Buhari government go for you?
I created the Buhari regime. It is me that created APC. It is me that created the fourth attempt of Buhari's candidacy, was my concept. The formation of APC and Buhari's fourth contest was my concept. So 100% my concept.
Now you're looking at, I'm very surprised that you're still quite enthusiastic about the fact that things can still change, in spite of the mess, because you talked about the mess that is created in 8 years. I mean, I'm sure you've heard all manner of narratives, even from the president, the former president's own wife, as to how things derailed. And now you're also talking about what is happening with AGF Malami, and you said all manner of things have transpired. How is it that you are still enthusiastic? How is it that you are still optimistic that things can be different if done differently, if we know that there are no saints where it is we're actually looking?
Well, I think you should be surprised that I have made a claim that the formation of APC and Buhari's fourth contest was my concept, that I drove it, yet I was not part of the regime. I was not, from the very, we parted with Buhari at the airport, Murtala Mohammed Airport, on the 27th of March 2015, which was a Friday. On the 28th was the general election for presidential election for 2015. Buhari took a chartered flight to Katsina. I took a chartered flight to Yola. In the morning, I spoke with him. You know, today is election day. Hopefully you win. I believe you will win. And then, you know, we went to the polls, and Buhari was declared president-elect. From the day Buhari was declared president-elect till he died, he never called me, he never saw me, he just blocked me and completely put me off. Why? Because apparently I was working with somebody whom I had an idea would change things, but I was mistaken. So those who came in, all of them, Abubakar Malami, Tunde, all of the Buhari group, all of them, you know, they worked with me, all of them. So, but they knew, I believe, that is what I'm made to believe later, that I'm not the kind of person that will go in and tolerate these kind of things. So maybe that explains why they put me out.
Yeah, but my thinking now is, do you think that you have found like minds?
Yeah, we have. In the ADA, we have like minds. So many. And that was why, in spite of the fact that we were highly recommended, when INEC came to our office, our National Secretariat, to inspect on the 8th of December, INEC saw 99% of the executives across the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT. The constitutional requirement is 24 states and the FCT. We had 36 states and the FCT. INEC saw 100% our documentation. INEC saw physically the faces of those people that we uploaded in INEC's portal. And INEC also saw our office is as good as any office in the country, as good as that of PDP, as good as that of APC, if not even better. So they recommended us highly, the committee. Then the National Commission, when it sat, it decided not to register ADA. And because they could not register any other association without registering ADA, which will be apparent, you know, the injustice and so would have been apparent, they decided not to register any political party at all. So that brought us, you know, to the issue. One, we have the political parties, you know, being delegitimized, so to speak. Either they have factions, either they are, you know, they have litigations. So then there is also, you know, the issue of political members of these parties moving into APC and making APC as if it is the only, which apparently seems to be the only legitimate political party on the ground. So all these things have closed the political space of Nigeria.
You haven't quite answered my question in terms of what keeps you optimistic.
What gave me the optimism is that there is a saying, I will quote Buhari, he said that Jiki Magai is a Hausa proverb, that when the going gets tough, things naturally change. Nigerians have been taken to a stage now where on their own, they will say enough is enough. All they need is a vanguard. And we want to play that role of a vanguard. That's what gives us the motivation and the hope that things will change.
Do you think the opposition will ever be strong enough to challenge the APC, perhaps for the presidency?
As far as I am concerned, you see, this politics, 24 hours, Margaret Thatcher said, it's a long time in politics.
Yeah, we know.
You know, it can prop up, I believe very strongly. And I made an interview a few days or so ago where I said that APC is most likely going to lose the election.
Which election? The national presidential election?
Yes. And I even challenged Nigerians that, you know, I will put in a brand new Prado if APC returns, and somebody to put in a brand new Prado. Maybe they can come and put it here in Channel, you know, if APC wins, you know, whosoever wins should come and take 2 new Prados.
Well, think they should put it somewhere else. They shouldn't put it here yet. Don't want trouble. But what gives you that impression that they would lose?
Because, as I said at the beginning of this, you know, it does not mean, because everybody moves into APC, that there is a consensus or APC is loved. APC isn't. Look, the statistics, 63.6% of the votes that brought President Tinubu to power was from the north. And in the north is the Muslim north that voted him, 63.6%.
How do we say that for sure?
It is for sure, because more than 90% of Northern Christian voted Labour. More than 90%. I was on the field. I know that.
Well, that remains arguable.
Okay, let me put it. Okay, remove the religious aspect. 63.6% of those votes that brought Tinubu to power came from Northern Nigeria, the 19 states of Northern Nigeria. That is not disputable. And these 19 states of Northern Nigeria are highly unlikely to revote him again. So where will he go and get the 63.6%?
Is that not going to be a big political miscalculation if you're going to rely on the data of that last election for this forthcoming election? No, because the dynamics have changed.
It's changed for the worse for the regime. Why? Because in 2023, he was not in office. A lot of things were attributed to him, that he could do this, he could do that, and so on. Now that he is in office, a lot of things have gone back. The exchanges have gone back. Inflation has gone back. The insecurity has increased. All these things have increased.
Yeah, but in Buhari's tenure, for the second term, the indices were worse too. But he won the second term.
Now, you have a point. You have a point there. But that, you see, it still goes back to the regional politics. In spite of the fact that during Buhari's time, the indices changed and they were bad with him, but those in his group, in his region, still went for him. Now it is different.
But now, we don't even know for sure that the middle belts, which area will they go? So the dynamics are different.
The middle belt had voted, you know, Labour in 2023.
But now we don't have a Labour candidate as of yet, except that's who we know has declared. So we don't even know for sure.
Now we don't have candidate in any political party yet.
Except, I mean, the president is going to get a ticket of the APC. That
is an assumption.
So you think
it's a fair assumption? I agree. It's a fair assumption.
Okay, but for the ADC, we don't know who's going to. In fact, how do you see the ADC conducting themselves to secure? Because there will always be perhaps disagreements here and there in terms of whoever emerges with the presidential ticket. Do you see them still pulling together and some people not saying, look, I think I should just go my own way?
Well, the ADC, as it is currently constituted, as I understand it, if it goes for primaries 100 times, I think we'll win 100 times. Absolutely no doubt about that. So how, you know, Obi and his supporters will react is what will determine, you know, the
So why
election.
Why do you think they want to be in the party?
Why do they want
Peter Obi in the party?
Who?
In ADC.
Who?
The ADC bigwigs, a lot of them have been wooing him.
Because Peter Obi controls more than 6.something million votes. So everybody wants to
come in and vie for the vice presidential slot.
I don't know, but to come in and make the party strong so that the party will win the election. That is why they want him there. I'm not saying that, Peter Obi cannot be the candidate of the party. He can only be the candidate of the party if Atiku steps down.
So which party do you belong now?
Me? I told you I'm pushing for the registration of
Yeah, but he has not been registered.
Yeah, I'm in court fighting for it. I'm not in APC, I'm not in PDP, and I'm not in ADC.
But you're sympathetic to...
I'm not sympathetic to any of them. I'm sympathetic only to the ADA.
So if your party is not registered before the elections,
yes,
you wouldn't be bringing your own structure to support a particular political party?
I would.
You would?
Yes.
Have you determined that party yet?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Yes, because I'm confident that we will be registered.
And it would not be too late for you to do anything at that time?
No, it won't.
Is that party likely to be the ruling party?
Well, from the calculation I did, I think we will do a lot. One thing I can tell you, it will change the political dynamics of the country.
That's if you're registered.
That's if we are registered.
Or if you eventually swing your support.
If the court determines that ADA, is deemed to have been registered, because we were deemed to have been registered since 9th of December.
So what is this that was circulating at the time? I think it was last year about the EFCC's case on this 485 million naira for future property against Dr. Omar Ado. Was that right?
Oh, yeah, it was. Future, it was all politics. I was sitting when I saw EFCC letter to me saying that I needed to come and explain to them how I got certain properties. I went and explained to them. They said they are not convinced. Said, okay, let's go to court. Unfortunately, around that time, my daughter died. And in order to protect my family from, because my wife was traumatic. In order to protect, my family, I said, look, in order to get this thing sorted out, you said you are not convinced, okay, take it, let's forget this one. They were too happy to do so.
But they say you purchased them.
Never.
They say you purchased them with cash. You didn't go through the
No, not at all. I purchased everything through the bank. Everything.
So, but if they didn't have a case, why would you voluntarily give up that? That's a lot.
I told you.
485 million? That's a lot.
Because I told you, I wanted to protect my family. I didn't want, when your daughter died, you don't know what that means. When your daughter dies within a couple of days, and then they say that they are going to arraign you on an issue that is not true. Now, those who have created this, where are they now? They said what I did was 100% legitimate. Go and explain how I wish I would have gone through, this matter. But it is a case that is closed.
All right, Dr. Omar Ado, convener, League of Northern Democrats and promoter of all, not just Northern, all Democratic Alliance. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you, Chapali.
All right, we will be back and focus on another matter in just a moment. Do stay on with us. Okay, localizing the politics now. There, as you may have seen there, we've got Dr. Moses Paul. He's a chairmanship candidate, African Democratic Congress for the forthcoming Abuja Municipal Area Council election. That's AMAC. Good morning. Thank you for coming in today.
I'm excited to be here. So,
so you have emerged as the candidate, not just an aspirant now. Oh, for the ADC.
ADC, yes.
How's that going to play out? I mean, we know that the ADC is, we're not too sure what to expect, but you have the chairmanship candidature and you're confident about going through.
I'm winning the election.
Oh, how?
I've been on the ground in the last 6 months, canvassing every village, every place here in the FCT, and I went to primary school here, and I own a PhD in environmental resource planning. I understand AMAC very much, probably more than anybody else, because in my first year, there's what we call the geography of the FCT. So it's a field of study. I was opportune to have Professor Ologie, who is an old man now, was one of the 7-man committee who situated the FCT here, lectured us. So in that course, we went physically to every part of the FCT. But that aside, I've been fixing primary schools and primary healthcare centers right here in the FCT in the past 5 years. In Lugbe here, in the next 2 weeks, I'm taking desks and chairs in Kapua here to primary school here. It was unbelievable. 40 years down the line, I went to primary school here, but children are sitting on the floor. In Lugbe, you can't even, traders can't move their goods. The rainy season will come and many places, people die literally because ambulances can't even take people across. The primary healthcare centers in AMAC are completely dead. I live here, I know the terrain, and I've been going around. So I care about the people. People can barely eat here. Bread is 2,000 naira. And you are wondering why the insecurity is rising. Uncles are dying here in the FCT. Who is caring about the security of the people? Pupils can't go to school. So these are the realities. Clean water, access to rural roads have become what? Luxury. AMAC does not exist right now in terms of performance or representation.
You know, one of the challenges and concern that people usually have on this kind of matters, when candidates come up, yes, they have good plans, but at the end of the day, there's this concern that what kind of consideration have you given to this narrative or thought that possibly, with all your lofty ideas, you could just have somebody somewhere who could try to manipulate the system or the structure, quote unquote, and have whoever their candidate is to come in against you?
Are you saying that the will of the people do not matter? AMAC is not just a village. 60% of AMAC are people who understand the narrative of our conversation. They understand what we're talking about. If the big politicians, the big business people, people who are educated, who are the bulk of AMAC people, you know, listening to me right now, if they don't come out and vote and defend their vote and ensure that the institutions of the military, the police, the INEC do the right thing, are we going to continue like this? Chamberlain, I've been 20 countries around the world. I've lived in municipalities that are comparable to AMAC. From London to Paris to New York, everywhere. I know what it is to have clean water. I know what it is for children to go to school and come back safe. I know what it is to live in a good place. But I believe that I'm cursed because everywhere I go to, I have to return back home after 1 or 2 weeks. But this place, things have to change. This is the most important geographical space in Africa. This is the administrative headquarters of Nigeria. This is the symbol of Nigeria. The president lives here. The ministers are here. All the diaspora embassies are here. Yesterday I was speaking to the British envoy. I've sat down with the entire EU and I've asked them, this is home for you. So are we going to allow impunity to continue where somebody sits down behind a desk and writes results? In the only country that is capable of becoming superpower, this is what Nigeria is. This is no rhetorics. I'm a PhD in environmental resource planning. I know what this space is to people, and I've been helping young people constructing the narrative of shaping their orientation all these years. I'm saying that the time comes in the nation's timeline and history where things have to change. We can allow this brigandage of rigging and stealing of ballot boxes and allowing the will of the people not to continue, because I'm hearing you, and if that is the case, you're saying that somebody can just sit and look at the 1.8 million people in AMAC.
I'm asking, what strategy are you going to deploy to ensure that that doesn't happen? Because we've seen it happen before.
The young people are going to come out. I've lost a lot of weight because I've been in the villages in the last 6 months. I walk morning and night, raising the consciousness of the people. The people will come out. They will vote. They will defend their vote. I'm not just speaking rhetorics. I've been on ground in AMAC, practically from Pui to Gwagwa to Karshi to Jiwa to Gwarimpa. Not just the city center, not Gariki, not Kapua. I've been everywhere, and I can tell you the pulse of the people.
Would you say then that you've done that to the detriment of the city center itself? Because, to be very honest, I live in Abuja. This is the first time I'm seeing you.
If you, except you, I've led many protests here, including the last protest for over 23 days and all of that. I believe in grassroots. Maybe Google my name and see what pops out.
That's why I said, have you done that to the detriment of, because you said that a lot of people understand the narrative, and one would think that for AMAC, in particular, I mean, Abuja has 6 districts, but I'm trying to remember what they're called, council areas.
Yes.
But AMAC is, the heart of the city of Abuja.
That's right.
And it has, a very, very strong elite population. I'm wondering where it is that you're finding room to engage that population to be more politically aware and not just to sit back and leave the decisions to be taken by just the people in the rural areas. They're important, certainly, but you want them to be able to get involved as well. Where are these platforms where these conversations are taking place and you're telling them what could be done differently?
The markets are there. I mean, AMAC is big. Do you know where Gui is? Do you know where Kabusa is? Do you know where Karshi is? Do you know where Orozo is? Do you know where Karo is? AMAC is not just city center, it's not just Garki, it's not just Gwarimpa. There is Jiwa, there's Gwagwa. So when people even sit and put a lot of concentration on the minister, it's because AMAC in itself does not exist. AMAC constitutionally tends to primary school, primary healthcare center.
Yeah.
When you talk about the tenement rate, you talk about the things that affect people directly.
It's interesting.
So what I'm saying is that the city center, yes, that's where the big buildings and stuff are, but there are 12 wards and they're all AMAC. So sometimes when people talk about AMAC, they're just talking about maybe 2 or 3 places, but there are 12 big wards that exist. So you could have been in Gwarimpa alone is bigger than Abaji out of the 6, because that's how big AMAC is. I and you could be here for 20 years and not have met ourselves. That's how big.
Well, it's elections, and people will say that your publicity has to be such that you're in everybody's face. But to, an issue right now, you just mentioned, that's why everybody looks at the FCT.
But Marco, you're right. Local elections usually, and I can give you so that the narrative of conversation, like you have over 800,000 registered voters in AMAC. AMAC seats 1.8 million people. But it will amaze you that in the last chairmanship election, the chairman came in with 19,300.
Because people are usually
it's considered a local election. And so whatever you do, and people are really generally not interested. But this is more important than the presidential election.
Indeed.
Because it affects and impacts people's life directly.
You just mentioned the FCT minister, and he might disagree with you because as far as he is concerned, he believes that they have been able to make so much inroads into the rural areas, into some of these places that you have mentioned in terms of roads, in terms of streetlights, in terms of the project that they're doing in primary schools, healthcare centers, etc. And he believes that even though he is a member of the PDP, at least he maintains that because of what he's done, on behalf of the president, that the APC will certainly take the day in the FCT.
And I can tell you here, and the news are out there, on 2 occasions, is some of the most embarrassing situation where the FCT minister looked at the chairman and said, stop naming roads that I'm building, go and build your own. Another occasion he said, I have been chairman over 2 decades or so ago, and he says to him that you can't even provide security vehicles for, right here. So, and this is where the people need to also understand. I'm not running to be the FCT chairman. The FCT minister. I'm running to be the AMAC chairman. And people confuse it, and this is where raising the consciousness of the people is very important. At ministerial level, at federal level, it is the big ideas, policies. At the implement. If the minister is fixing primary school in a country where things are working, he will go to jail, because the constitutionality, the implementation of fixing primary schools, providing motivation for the teachers, the sanitation, the clean water, that is within the jurisdictions of the AMAC chairman. The AMAC chairman is the one responsible for primary healthcare centers. He's responsible for waste management. He's responsible for clean water, sanitations. These things that impact our lives. The markets within AMAC. If the minister is doing that, then it's going beyond his bounds.
Well, the question I was trying to pose is that you don't think that what he's done so far, puts your party in jeopardy?
Because AMAC, in terms of what the responsibility of the chairman is concerned, does not exist, is completely zero.
Let me ask you, AMAC is famously notorious to some people because I've been to different places and they always ask me, what are people going to do about this AMAC tout, always harassing us every left, right, and center? That must have come to you too. You must have seen it. What's your plan for that? if you win?
You see, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be converted from one form to another. AMAC does not even have a farm. My PhD, my master's thesis is on agriculture. I can literally move hundreds and thousands of these young people into, you know, creative ventures. I mean, there is no initiative of ICT, of agriculture, of tourism. So what do you expect? They will smoke Igbo and stop you on the way, and touts are the one even harassing people in AMAC, the most important local council in the country. This is unacceptable. What I would do, I go to Atlanta. I've been bringing in medical equipment for some of our senators and people to distribute. What do you think I'll do as chairman? If you go to Tungan Nasara, the only twin toilet there in the early years school, I built it. 2 years ago, I fixed Tungan Madaki just by the airport. I fixed the primary healthcare center, and I've been doing this. So if I'm doing this at an individual basis, what do you think I would do as chairman, having the authority and some of the funds and the big interventions? Okay. AMAC has some of this. The entire diaspora embassy sits here in AMAC.
All right. This is, I mean, before the elections, we'll definitely revisit the matter and ensure that the political consciousness for the local level is ramped up as much as we can. We do thank you for coming on. Dr. Moses Paul, the chairmanship candidate of the African Democratic Congress, the ADC, vying for AMAC chairmanship. All the best to you.
Thank you.
Well, that wraps it up today on the program. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time. I'm Chamberlain Uso. Goodbye.
And I'm Maokwe Ogun Yusuf. Thank you for watching.